Welcome to the Hello Pocatello podcast, hosted by Amber Cook. Our special guest this week is Colleen O'Hara from Pocatello Paranormal Research. Sit back and enjoy this spooky Halloween episode.
Welcome to Hello Pocatello. This is Colleen O'Hara with Pocatello Paranormal Research. Welcome. We're so glad to have you here. I've been following you for years, as I've told you a few times, so really excited to have you here today. So can you tell us how Pocatello Paranormal Research got started?
Sure. Sorry about my voice. It's a little, Yeah. So I moved here 15 years ago, but I've been in the paranormal field all my life. And when I moved here, I did some things with some local people, and then I thought, this is, I really want to get more invested in the research part of it. I've always been on my own, myself, my camera, my recorder going out. So I've lived all over the country. So I've been to battlefields and cemeteries and haunted all over the U.S. And then when I was in the service, all of the military bases I was at, I was always had some of my equipment with me, So I thought when I moved here, let me get to do a team instead of just being a loner on my own all the time. And I formed the team, and I still have some of the original team members with me. We've been together 15 years, and we keep trucking. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what inspired your interest in the paranormal?
My mom. She was a psychic medium, and she was also a cop her whole life, career police officer. And she used her abilities to help solve cases. And she was investigating, what we call investigating now. She would go to people's homes and communicate with whatever energy was there, and then help the people become more comfortable with what was going on. You can't always clear the house. You can't always make it calm down, but at least explain what was happening, why their doors are slamming in the middle of the night. So I just grew up with that all my life. Yeah.
Wow. And where was that? Where are you originally from?
Northern California, so El Dorado County, which is a county that goes from the Sacramento County line up into Lake Tahoe. So we were up in the mountains up there.
Did she have a specialty?
Oh boy. So her gift was premonitions. It was daily stuff. That my dad was a test pilot, and she was able to tell him, hey, I don't know why, but your right aileron is not going to work. So when you get to the airport, make sure that you're testing it, or no matter what you do, your landing gear is not going to work today. So look for grass to land in, look for something on the field that you can land in safely. It was just this constant. She saw me drown before I drowned. She saw everything in our life happen the day before and would tell us. She would tell us this is going to happen. And she would call me when I was back east and say, don't ride your horses today. Okay. When you grow up with that, you just don't. You're like, yes, ma'am.
Yes, boss. Whatever you say.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, so you've been investigating the paranormal for over 20 years? Your website said over 20 years, and then when we were talking, you were like, way longer than that.
Actually, well, I started working with my mom when I was about 10 to 12.
Okay. So do you have gifts as well?
Yeah, I do. My friends that are really in the mediumship, they joke with me because I don't take my medium skills seriously, but I know I am. It's just not to their level. The empathic skill is more my set. I can feel the pain of death. I can feel that kind of stuff. I work with mediums that I don't even give them the address until the night we're going. I don't want my team to know anything. And then as they're getting there, they already know who's there, what's going on, how they died. It's so frustrating. It leaves the mystery out of it. They're so good. I'm not that good.
Well, and I'm betting there's something else though that, obviously you have like some type of focus in there that you're, I don't know, I'm not a medium, so I don't know exactly how that works, but there's got to be something that just like you have a connection.
I do.
You have a connection with maybe the place or the people that are lingering. Wow, that's crazy. So what's changed the most in how you conduct investigations today compared to when you started?
Wow, when I started it was, when my mom was doing it, it was a reel-to-reel tape. right? We would do, and I think today still by far that is the best quality of tape that you're going to find. We would catch so much more spirit voice, what we call now electronic voice phenomenon, the EVP. They were crystal clear. Everything was beautifully recorded. So, and then when I'm out on my own, I was a cassette player. It was like, they're like this big and you're trying to sneak them around. It's not that easy. And then now we're even going backwards into, remember I'm not sure what the camera's called, but you take the picture and it comes out and you just hold it for a few seconds, it develops.
Polaroid?
Is that it? Polaroids? Yeah. Polaroids by far were the best. We're going back to Polaroids now.
I know.
They're so much better than what we have. So we've gone all to digital, and then now we're starting to go back. Like if I can find a reel-to-reel, I'd use it because they're so much better quality.
Wow, I'll have to look. I have a collection of cameras. My grandpa was a photographer for just a little fun. He was in real estate. He loved photography, so he's collected cameras for years, and one of them is like late 1800s. That's how old it is. Like the ones where you had to put the
the
cover
hood over.
Yeah. And he has a bunch. I'll have to look.
Interesting.
I wonder if he would, because I think he would let us do something with that.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. That's really neat. That's interesting to hear about because, modern technology, you'd think, I actually have old Polaroids and new Polaroids.
See?
Yeah. I picked an old Polaroid that was like almost brand new from like the 80s, but they hadn't even used it. So I found one at a thrift store and want to mess with that. So now that you say that, I'm going to go pull it out.
Definitely.
What type of cases does your team handle? Like hauntings, poltergeists, attachments, unknown phenomena? How do you decide which ones to take?
All of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Okay.
There isn't anything we don't take. So poltergeist energy is interesting because that's energy that we create. That's an us thing. Our drama, fighting, the situation, the living situation, that really intense. If it's a really intense atmosphere, it spins off into like its own entity and it creates a really nasty haunting in a house. And we've dealt with a few of those, but it's not as common as you think. I mean, movies make it sound like it's everywhere.
Well, yeah.
And it's
poltergeist.
I did bring some equipment so we can play with it a little bit. And we did test this a little while ago to make sure we're not getting interference.
I got some video of that. It was kind of trippy.
But one of the most interesting cases we've had was in Blackfoot. We had pyrokinesis, which is the first time I've ever seen it.
What is that?
Fire starter.
Oh.
Have you seen the movie?
Oh, I recognize that word. And I was like, why do I?
Yeah.
It's a little too early.
Yeah. So it's in really intense conflict. And when these people would argue or fight, things would catch on fire in the house. So when we drove up to the place in the backyard is just a burned out appliances, just bunches of them, like probably 30 of them, from ovens to microwaves. And we're going, that's kind of odd. I wonder if there's an electrical issue. I mean, you don't go right to the paranormal when you're looking at stuff like that. The house was all electric, like an electric range and everything. It wasn't gas. When you looked at the front of the ovens, there was fire that had come out through the knobs and melted the knobs and scorched everything.
Who was doing it?
The family.
The whole family?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just really...
So like their energy created... Mm-hmm. Wow.
It was
I didn't know that's how that worked.
Right combination of people, or wrong. I know, however you want to say that.
Yeah.
The wrong combination of personalities. They were all related, and there was a lot of fighting, and it would get super, super intense. Things would start moving. We did 3 different sessions in that house to try to work with the people, to try to give them some ideas on how to calm things down. This energy, this chaotic energy would follow them because they only lived here part of the year. They lived somewhere else part of the year. They would call us on the road and say, it's with us in the restaurant. I mean, that's how intense the situation was.
Is there any way to calm that down and make it stop?
Yeah, it would take work. First,
like healing or
healing energy, meditation, things to lower that was just a lot of fighting. Like, learn other ways to express your anger. Go outside and take a walk. Calm down, like calm the situation down. It was really out of control. Really.
Yeah, now I'm going to have to, that's going to be I'm going to go down a Google rabbit hole tonight.
Yes.
It's
really rare.
Oh, yeah. Well, and to be so close, to be just in Blackfoot. I'm
right.
like, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that makes my heart hurt a little bit for those people.
I know.
But hopefully they have found that healing that they
so.
needed. Yeah. Well, getting back to Pocatello, this is going to be a hard question. What is the creepiest or most unexplainable experience you've had right here in Pocatello? If there's more than one, feel free.
Oh, boy.
I'd love to hear them.
Okay. Well,
top 3, maybe. Top 3.
Okay. The most unexplained experience would be I lived at the Bannock Guard Station, which is the old Forest Service guard station in Mink Creek. So if you go up Mink Creek Road, before you go over to Arbin Valley, there's a little, there you go, starting again. There's a little cabin down on the right side. It drops off, and there's a cabin, and it's a Forest Service administration site. I lived down there for a couple of years, probably 9 and 10 years ago. And every night that I was there, I would see, like red balls of light dancing in the pine trees through the canyon. High enough that I knew it wasn't flashlights. It wasn't like I'm looking across the slope and there's somebody up there with a flashlight on a steep slope. It was high. It was in the tops of the trees, and it would move around. And then I'd get into my Jeep and I'd take off to see if I could follow it, and it would shoot up Mink Creek and go over the mountain into Arbin. So I could sit some nights on the top where the snowmobiling area is up there, Crystal Basin or whatever they call it, and you could actually see the lights coming. And they shoot across, and then they just disperse over Arbin Valley, be gone. So that was going on constantly. I didn't say anything, and then I knew the next person who had moved in there after I bought my place. And she came up to me one day and said, "Can I show you something?" Because everybody gets a little panicky when something happens. And I'm like, "Sure, what do you got?" She goes, "Can you look at this video?" And I'm like, "Sure." So she had filmed the lights. And it's really hard to film at night because there's no frame of reference sometimes. Like, you know where all the trees are, but nobody else would know. So it looks like the camera's moving around, but she goes, "The camera's on the hood of my truck, and I'm filming this. So the camera's steady, the light's moving." I said, "Yeah, exactly." She goes, "What is this?" I said, "I don't know. I don't know. I have no explanation for that." So that's an odd phenomenon. Now, people in Mink Creek have seen it elsewhere. Sorry, so this is going off. This is the REM pod. It's starting to pick up energy. I can silence it because it's annoying. Yeah.
I keep wondering what it's picking up. We're going to have to figure that out.
I don't know. We're going to have to figure it out.
We're going to have to figure it out because this is a new space. So
yeah,
hopefully no fire starting.
Right.
Oh, well, what do you feel, maybe one or two of the eeriest buildings here in Pocatello? I know I've actually had my business in one there was 2. One of them wasn't intense. It was over on First Street, but the one on Center Street, absolutely intense. It was, sometimes I'd walk in there and I'd get this feeling of, okay, what's wrong? There's something, Do you have any buildings like that you can think of, or a little, this is what people are going to want to know. They want to know where the eeriest spot is.
Okay. I can tell you without a doubt, one of the wildest experiences we had was Portneuf Valley Brewing.
Okay.
Upstairs.
I'll have to talk to Penny.
You're going to have to go in there. Penny knows all about this. So Penny had told me that when she was remodeling that place, she had contractors that would leave their tools and tell her we're not coming back when they were doing the upstairs. So I was intrigued. We did the basement. We had a little bit of activity. The first floor, the main floor, a little bit of things here and there, nothing that we could really hang our hat on. We get upstairs, and everything broke loose up there. We have this video on our YouTube. So you can go in and you can see the shadow moving across the wall. You can see flashlight turn on and then just roll on the table by itself. There was a lot of different stuff that we had going on there, but the most interesting well, it's interesting. It was terrifying for one person. Thing that happened was we have a medium on our team, and her daughter is also incredibly gifted medium. And upstairs, there's a bathroom where you have you go into like a little area, and then you go into the stall. So there's 2 doors to get to the stall. And she had gone in to use the restroom. We didn't think anything of it. We're all outside, and there's quite a few of us on that investigation because we're covering the whole building. But by this time, we're all upstairs because we're just drawn to that energy. We're just all up there going, okay, nobody wants to be down in the basement anymore. This is where the activity is.
Where
so
most people are like, you're like, get me up there.
Yes. So we did have a reporter with us, a newspaper reporter, and I felt really bad for him because it scared him so badly what happened. So she's in the bathroom, and it's just one of those weird little slide latches. It won't let her out of the bathroom. So she's trying to get out of the bathroom, and it won't let her slide it. And it's a really easy slide, okay? So she can't slide it, and she's knocking on the door. She goes, hey, you guys, I can't get out of the bathroom. And then she starts getting scratched and pinched and hit and hair pulled. And she's 15, but she's part of our family. Like, she's part of our investigation family, and she's incredibly gifted. And her mom's trying to say, you need to get out of this situation because you have the strength to be able to back this thing off. She needs to learn and develop this. But she panicked a little, took over. So she can't get out. She's starting to cry. We're all kind of gathered around the first door. And I'm watching the reporter. He's standing next to me, and he was a really tall guy. And there was a small round table, like for drinks, that we'd pushed up because we had a camera, but I think on that table. And so I'm watching him. He's kind of leaned on the doorway, and he's got his hand on the table, but I'm watching the placement of his hand because the table is spinning under his hand, and he doesn't even notice it. It's very light. It's very slow. So I'm watching the table and watching his hand, and I'm kind of trying to keep track of what's going on with the young lady in the stall and with one of our other team members. And he was a Marine who was gone to Afghanistan and Iraq. He was getting a little wound up. He wanted to protect her. So I'm watching all of this. At the same time, all of our equipment's going nuts. Everybody's like just hung at this door, and the table's rotating, and the reporter's watching all of this. And Phil, who's on our team, the Marine, he just went through our crowd, and he went in there, and it was basically going to rip the door off the hinge. And at that moment, the latch slid open, the door opened, and she was able to come out kind of into his arms. The energy came in right after her and took all of us down. It came through us. People were immediately on the ground, nauseous, sick. The overwhelming energy of what came out of that bathroom stall was unbelievable. The newspaper reporter just looked at me, and he put his hands up, and he goes, I got to go. He couldn't write for 2 years. It affected him that badly that he couldn't do his job for 2 years.
Wow.
I wish he would have told us that. We would have worked through that. But whatever, we believe it was a female energy that came through. She was really angry at us. I don't know. She was just really angry. And she came through everybody, and we were just, all of us, immediately sick. That was wild.
And is that entity still there or gone? Or
sometimes they come in when we're investigating. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with Portneuf Valley Brewing. It just happened to be a very extreme experience that we had. We've noticed some of the same individuals, spirit individuals, when we do something in Old Town, boop, there they are. They know we're there, and they want to talk. And they move everybody out of the way, and they want to have a conversation.
Maybe that's what's happening right now.
Could be. There's a young lady that follows us around down in Old Town. So,
okay.
Yes.
You know, the shop I was telling you about, that was a little, there was always kind of like a presence or more than one, but it was never malignant. It was very, I don't want to say gentle, but you know what I'm saying? It wasn't anything intense, but late at night, you would just get goosebumps. Mm-hmm. You'd know that you had a visitor. And we used to say it was because, it was on First Street. I was 2 blocks away from the brewery or Portneuf Valley Brewing. And we used to say that they were attached to the old wedding dresses because there were some antique wedding dresses. There were a lot of antiques in that building.
Were you in
Annie Halls?
Annie Halls. That was a great investigation for us.
And Annie was a medium. So
yes.
we worked together for years. I had the whole bottom floor.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that she didn't have any issues with it, but she's just like, just knock it off. Like, yeah. She would just holler, knock it off.
And that's what we tell people.
She's
it's
still
like
there.
Claim Annie. I know
she's
she
still
is
there.
Definitely.
There was one day I'm like, I'm not there anymore, so I can say this. One of the girls was vaping, and she hated that stuff. Like, she smoked, but she didn't like it in the building. And all the lights started flickering, and this gal looks up, and she's like, "Okay, man. Oh, I better stop. I'm sorry, Annie."
Definitely.
Annie Hall was the name, but Anne. She's like, "Sorry, Anne."
It's it's true. Like, I tell people, go into Portneuf Valley Brewing because the energy is kind of, there's definitely stuff there. Doesn't mean it's like that every night. Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. This person, we believe to be female, had a lot on her mind and a lot to say, and she wanted to make contact, and that's how she chose to do it. And then when I think she realized things were getting a little out of hand, and she was scaring people when she came through. She wanted out. She wanted to leave, and she came through everybody. There's nothing wrong with that building, but there's definitely energy there. Did you know that that's where they did the public hangings? It was right there on First Street.
That's probably, I was about to ask, is that like maybe just a part of town that...
Yep.
Okay.
When I first moved here, I didn't know anybody, so I'd go to the library and I'd read the old microfiche because I'm a nerd. I would read this old microfiche, and it explained that they had fenced that portion of the town off. They call it Fence City, so that the good people of Pocatello wouldn't accidentally wandering to the debauchery, to the gambling halls, to the music, to the girls, so they had fenced a couple of blocks off. And then that's where they had the public noose would come in. They had a traveling noose that would come in, and they would basically right in front of Portneuf Valley Brewery.
Okay, maybe that's what
There's some crazy energy down there.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That makes a lot of sense. I was in that part of town for a long time, and not just the homemade salad dressings at Portneuf Valley Brewing.
No,
that's not the best part anymore. Well, it is, but
I'm telling you, it's such great food. You got to go in there. But
her honey mustard. Yeah, she makes her own honey mustard. It is the best honey mustard in town. Yeah, and the pretzels, when she does her pretzels, there's an event there Black Friday weekend every year. It's called Crafts and Drafts, and I'm a participant. I'm one of the vendors for that. So now maybe you should come.
I should.
Yes, and we should talk about that. That'd be cool. Fence City. I'm going to be texting you later for some of this information because I'm also a nerd.
And
so I'm going to go look this all up.
Remind me, and I will be there.
Yeah, Black Friday weekend. It's a craft event. It's handmade only, artisan made only. But yeah, now I'm going to be like,
that would be fun.
I would make it. the people running it, I'm going to talk to them. The Bunzos, they run Bunzo Glass Co. They run this event every year. I think it's like the 8th or 9th year.
Oh, is that Lucas's family?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Lucas is the one that asked us to come in there.
He is?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
well, I'll have to
for the investigation.
Oh, name dropped Luke in the podcast.
Sorry,
Luke
am I not supposed to do that?
No, it's okay. Yeah. No, that's great. I'm really good friends with Luke and Nikki. They're some of my close friends. So
yeah. So that building we had that creepy experience. Like I said, don't be afraid of the building. These things happen also because we're asking them to come forward and make contact with us. So we draw them in.
You should go to Center Street, East Center.
Yeah, I will.
The building that I was in, 322, it definitely, there's okay. It's a little darker though than First Street was for me. Okay. Like I didn't feel like First Street was very dark. I felt like it was just like maybe people attached to their dress. I don't know. Well,
not only that, but there was gambling and music and prostitution.
I think
there was a different atmosphere.
Well, the tunnels.
The tunnels.
The tunnels. And that's right around where they were. So anyway, I've always wanted to know more about the tunnels. Another one of my friends and I, we talk about it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just did the administration building on the ISU campus. So we teach a course there every fall. We were teaching, he's very active. We were teaching every semester, but we're so busy that we pared it down to just a fall semester now. And we do a class on how to develop your paranormal skills, your senses, and how to use the equipment. And then we end the class it's 5 weeks, with an investigation on campus. So we do different buildings on campus. And we just did 3 weeks ago, the administration building, and it was bananas.
Okay.
It was bananas because it did have a ballroom in it, and that's where a lot of the dances took place. In World War II, the campus was used for training World War II soldiers. There was a naval component attached to that campus too. And then it was a student housing and student union and all this stuff. Now it's admin. And there was a crime that happened there back in the 70s that you can research. But a gentleman came in there and shot his wife while she was working. And he was front and center during that investigation. He was still very angry. Yeah.
That's intense.
That stuff can come true.
When is that class?
We do it every fall. So in the summer, it's called the Continuing Education Work Training or some CEWT. They send out a catalog every summer, and then we're in there for the fall semester. Very limited class size because we do an investigation, and if you have 30 people, it's like herding cats. So we try to keep it to 15 people.
When does it start?
Right around the first week of September.
Okay.
It's over 5 Friday nights.
Oh, so it's already taken place?
Yeah, we just wrapped it
Okay,
up.
I'll keep an eye out for next year
yes,
then.
It's a lot of fun.
Okay, that's all right.
We have Magic Valley Paranormal, which is a spinoff of
Magic Valley, not Treasure Valley. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. We just spun that group off. We started it probably 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and it didn't take off really well. We didn't have the right people to take it and run with it. And now part of our team who lives over there, I said, what? I still have the name. Take it and run with it. Let's just make this a team. So we're doing our first investigation with them tonight at a school over there. And the school has a lot of activity. The teachers have actually shown us, because they took our class a year and a half ago and showed us full body apparitions in the security cameras. That are kind of like all of a sudden you see manifesting on a sidewalk and then they're walking towards the building. And then they're gone.
Oh my
gosh.
We're
We're excited to go do that. But there's a lot of really active places even in the area. Stricker Ranch, which is out in Kimberly kind of area. We had disembodied voice, which is a voice you can hear like me and you talking, answer our questions. And we caught it on 4 different cameras and recorders. So in direct, he was very frustrated.
That gave me goosebumps.
Yes. Yes. Soda Springs, the Enders Hotel, was one of the kind of the wildest. We've been in there probably 4 or 5 times. One of the wildest buildings we've worked in.
Can I ask about Lava Hot Springs?
I actually haven't done any work over in Lava.
There's
so much.
All those the windows. That place. What is? It's right at the. Hot Springs Hotel. That one.
Yes.
Yep. See, you gotta go there. They're saying you gotta go there.
It's really hard sometimes. These places that are open constantly overnight. Is that the Royal?
I think so.
Yeah.
I should know this.
It's really hard to get a time when it's quiet and doesn't have guests and doesn't have a ton of business going on. I mean, obviously they don't want to close down for this because they'd lose money.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get in there when it's quiet.
Well, I can't help but wonder, have there ever been any locations where it was too heavy and the energy was too intense and you didn't go back? Or it kind of seems like that doesn't intimidate you whatsoever.
No.
But it sounds like maybe that reporter, but have there ever been places that people are like, I'm never going back there?
Our team is, no.
They're just like,
we're in it. And this is what we do because we really want to find out, most of the things we run into are dead people. They're humans, but you got to remember not everybody's nice in life, so they're not going to be not nice in death. So they could be, and then I have found in death, if they present themselves, they can present themselves bigger and darker and meaner and just different forms to try to scare you even more. Maybe they wanted to scare people in life and never really could, but in death they decide, I'm going for it now. What do you got to lose, right? And so, but most of the things we run into are humans. We have run into non-human entities. We have run into those situations. And we've actually communicated with them as much as they would allow us to communicate with them. But what they are, we don't know. We feel that they're from the earth. Like when you ask, they don't have concepts of what we're asking sometimes. But we've asked, like, how old are you? And the feedback is we've always been. Like they've always been here. So we've run into them, and they will mess with people, and they make people very ill. So we try to clear them away and send them somewhere else. The problem is they're just going to find another house and another person. That's what they do.
Is there a way to protect yourself from that? Okay.
Yeah.
Any tips to give the listeners?
Yeah. Sounds crazy. A lot of people think it's woo-woo, but, we're in the woo-woo business. So on my property, I've buried on the four corners obsidian that I personally found and cleansed. I have buried obsidian. I have crystals on the corners of my house. I just do things, and then I'm constantly just putting that energy out there that my property's protected. My house is protected. Doesn't mean that things don't come in. I do have a local story for you that was kind of wild. Things will come in occasionally when they need help. Things, people, dead people. I had a woman that kept showing up at my house. I didn't know her. She would come in, she just right through the wall and be in front of me and just be screaming, but I couldn't hear anything. Just upset, crying, screaming, just frantic. And I couldn't figure out what she wanted. Well, I had started many years ago, Bannock County Pet Lost and Found. It's a group to reunite pets in this area.
Yeah. I think, isn't it a Facebook group?
Yeah.
I'm a part of it.
Okay. Yeah. So found out that she had been in an accident and died, but nobody knew her dog was in her vehicle. So everybody was rallying through the group to try to find her animal. I didn't know it was her. So as she'd come through my house 2 nights in a row, just frantic, something kept drawing me to the story that was in the newspaper of this woman who had died, who I didn't know, up on one of these trails up here on the mountain. So finally I go to her Facebook page. I'm like, I wonder if I can find her on Facebook. Sure enough, that's her. Like, oh, no, now I know why. So now I know the connection, because her family had gone to her house a couple of days after she'd passed, realized her dog wasn't there, realized she must have had her dog in the vehicle.
Was the dog okay?
Yes, it was found.
Oh,
it had injuries, but they'd gotten it to the vet and was able to save the dog. Okay, it had made it all the way over to like the dump area. And so I was waiting for her like night after night. It was like two nights or so after the dog was found. And I never posted this on the group because this has nothing to do with finding the pets. And it's a weird thing and people don't like weirdness, right? But she came through the house and now she came in and she started her screaming. And I know. I said, we found your dog. I said, they found your dog. He was over by the dump. He was hurt, but he's at the vet. He's going to be fine. And then you could see just the relief flood over her face, and she was gone.
Oh, that makes my heart hurt and happy at the same time.
I know. I sat there and cried for a little while. I have to tell you, because it's like you make these connections and you don't know when it's going to happen. I'm not that kind of medium. That doesn't happen to me.
When you were saying
often.
that, I was like, but you made that connection, and like. I don't know how all of that works.
I don't either.
I have a couple of woo-woo members in my family, so nice. I was taught things about like what to do about being sensitive, or like when you're an empath or you're very empathetic, ways to protect yourself. I was taught a lot of that kind of stuff, and everybody has a different gift or something that's special about them, and it sounds like you're the one that makes the connections, and it doesn't, and you're seeing, and you're still like a medium, but. I think, your mom had the premonitions, and it sounds like you're the I don't want to say connector, but that's what it sounds like.
Maybe.
I don't
know.
And they know and they find you. So you're connecting them and maybe helping them. And then the other members of your team can maybe like help
take
them.
It further.
Yeah. Or it depends on what they need or what they're seeking.
Yeah. It's really interesting, and it's really interesting to work with really talented people because you learn so much from them as well. And we do network with a lot of other teams in the country. If we're traveling, we network with them and work with them on a case, or they'll give us footage to review that they're like, we just don't know, take a look at this. And so we do network a lot. And we have some really fun things coming up for the community next year.
Awesome.
Actually, one thing starting in December with our mediums at Gate City Coffee.
Oh, great.
So we're going to be doing a group readings for people who want to buy a ticket to come in. And our mediums are going to be able, we do this online live every Wednesday night. People come in, we chat about the paranormal, the goofy stuff, but then people come in and ask questions and can I get a reading for this or can I get a reading for that? And our mediums will start working that. Yes. And
that's Bill. He's too busy working to come to the studio.
This is his spirit like, energy going over. Yeah. So Bill, Bill has graciously offered us a portion of his building to work in. His investigation was fun. We're going to be doing the other side of the gift shop side of that building soon for an investigation. But I think the community, what's fun is, I don't know if you've ever done this, but some of my friends that are for bridal showers, that's what they did, was they had a medium come in.
Oh,
so if there's bridal showers coming up or things like that, they'll be able to, we're going to have a dedicated night of the month, like say the third Friday. I'm not sure. We haven't pinned it down yet, but the tickets will be available. You can buy them at Gate City and then have our mediums there in person reading. You never know what's going to come through. You never know what's going to come through. I mean, you may really want to talk to your grandma, but your crazy Uncle Bob over there is the one who shows up. You know what I'm saying?
No crazy Uncle Bob.
So it's just fun. It's fun. I think it'll be a fun time for people. And it's a little bit emotional. We'll bring Kleenex boxes because you never know. Mm-hmm. You never know who's going to come through and what their message is.
That's exciting. I'm going to tease Bill about his astral projecting, and then I will be there.
Bill.
Oh, my goodness. Well, so one of the things that I found on your website was like what types of tools you use, and I'm not familiar with any of them. A lot of the things I like are like more fantasy paranormal. So I don't know what a dowsing rod session is or how it works. For people like me who aren't familiar with that, what is it?
So dowsing rods were used for centuries it was water witching.
Okay.
That's how they would use a willow stick. And as the sticks would cross, they knew that there would be water they could drill. And actually on our property is how we drilled our well. And our well was I want to say on the magnitude of almost 800 feet deep. So that's how deep. I mean, they're going to find the water that you need. But water is also conductive. So people learned through the years that those rods, and I have a set with me, I should have brought them in, but those rods, I'm very comfortable using them to connect with the spirit energy and ask them. You have to frame things in the yes or no and tell them to cross them for yes or open them for no. That's how you have to frame things. But as you're asking questions with these dowsing rods, they're coat hangers, metal rods. You can buy them online. You can make them out of coat hangers. You're not spending money on this stuff, okay? But as you're holding them, you hold them and you just balance them so you're not manipulating them with your fingers, and you're letting the energy cross them and open them, and they're communicating that way. But as you get really comfortable with using them, most of the information's coming here. Like all of a sudden, you just know. Oh, well, she's saying yes, but she's telling me that she's between 16 and 17 when she died, and she told me this, and all of a sudden you just have all this information.
Is that what the next question was, that you offer those dowsing rod, is it dowsing or dowsing? Mm-hmm. Sorry. Dowsing rod sessions for free. Mm-hmm. Is that what people usually experience?
Yes, I've done several dowsing rod sessions for people. They'll call and say, can you come in and see if you can make contact with somebody? I ask them to tell me not. Don't tell me who you want to make contact with. I want to see who comes in. One of the things I practice with my team, I'm usually the point of contact, or Andy on our team's the point of contact. We get the information for the case, but we don't tell anybody else on the team. I want them to go in and tell me what they believe is happening. And then I can compare that with the notes that I took from the homeowner or the building owner, right? And we always have the building owner or homeowner with us. We have somebody with us. We don't want to be alone in a space. Just It's just weird, I think, to be in somebody's house. So, but people do call, they'll ask for dowsing sessions, or they actually ask, we get a lot of our mediums do readings for people constantly. It's kind of their business, one of their side businesses. But yeah, I don't charge anything for dowsing. I'm like, if you give me a cup of coffee and a cookie, I'm cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't have any coffee cups. I'm like, we're gonna have to figure out what's going on here. But I could go grab some cookies. What are some of your favorite investigative tools? Like that give you the most reliable results?
The rods are definitely my favorite, but I have a whole truck full since we're going to be busy tonight. But this here, K2 meter, it's picking up electromagnetic. So if you are receiving a message on your phone and you hold it right up to this, it's going to go all the way to the red. It's picking up electromagnetic, okay? This one, the baseline in this building seems to be the second flickering green. And when it's picking up some energy, it's going to the yellow. We've seen it since I've been here going all the way to the red sometimes.
Yeah, I got a couple of videos of it.
Yes. And we confirmed it wasn't the lights, and we're far enough away from your phone that it's not picking up on that. There's nothing electrical under here. I looked.
I know. I saw you. I was like, what would be the thing with the table?
Yeah, if you had an electrical cord taped up under here and you were running an appliance off of it, it's going to pick that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we know it's not the lights.
To fool it. No, the lighting we turned off.
Well, I didn't even know what it was, so it's kind of interesting that all kind of happened.
We also use this to debunk. So, for example, the office at Gate City Coffee downstairs, they get the feelings of paranoia down there, like somebody's watching them all the time. But we understand that space now to be a fear cage. Have you heard that term?
No.
There's so much wiring in all of the walls because all of the remodels and it's so old that no matter where you are in that not a confined space, but it's a very small office, you're just getting bombarded with EMF. And EMF from lighting and electrical and underground, the electrical that comes in for the restaurant portion. Restaurants throw off a lot of EMF because the cabling that comes in for all the appliances is huge, right? It's a big draw on electricity. So in my opinion, there's nothing paranormal in their office because everywhere you go, just standing in the middle, you can have this up high or down low or everywhere. It was going all the way to the red. Multiple meters. It wasn't just one. So that's a fear cage. That's what they call a fear cage.
Okay.
I
know I'm going to be texting you later, being like, what were all those terms again? Because I'm going to go look all it up. I'm so excited.
REM pod. The REM pod, this picks up vibration, sound, energy, and temperature fluctuations. And of course, I broke the antenna off because I'm hard on everything. But this here picks up a lot of different energy. And as we talk, things will interact with it. And when we ask questions, if you go, we have the ISU admin building live stream up on our YouTube channel. You can see in one portion of the hallway where we made contact with somebody who was really dark. It's a real negative presence in there. He was slamming all of this stuff was going off. We have motion detectors and a door jamb. He's tripping them. So he was pacing back and forth in that door jamb. He was really intense.
Is it that guy that shot his wife?
Yes. Okay. He didn't want us there. He didn't want to talk to us. He's angry. He's a very angry man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about this a little bit before we started, and I'm really curious to learn about it since Pocatello Paranormal Research has been accepted by the Catholic paranormal clergy. That's really unique, and I would love to know more about that. So how did that come about? You said they reached out to you about 10 years ago?
Yeah, I believe it was about 10 years ago. Might have been a little over. Out of the blue, I got an email from one of the dioceses, I want to say somewhere in the south, back east, and said that they have this paranormal clergy and would we like to, they reviewed a lot of our work over the years and said, we would like to consider you to be a part of the paranormal clergy. There's, I think, 26 exorcists in the United States. That number fluctuates a little bit. Ordained.
Catholic? Okay.
Catholic exorcists. There's probably more in different faiths, right? But the Catholic. And I'm not Catholic, so I'm like, how did this happen. But a member of our team had been a Jesuit priest, and he was a monk for a while. And then he came on our team, and he was helping us with a lot of stuff. It's really a unique perspective that he had on different things that was going on. He helped us on the pyrokinesis case a lot. He was helpful on that case. But I don't know if he was involved with that. He never said he was. But so we accepted that. So if we get really, really nasty cases where we do believe that somebody is dealing with something more than what we can deal with. And we haven't gotten there yet, though. We've not hit a case where...
Yeah, you don't seem intimidated by any
No,
of that.
but I do believe that there's probably negative energy out there that we would need somebody with that level of skill. We just haven't hit it yet. But they're there. They're in the background. They would always help us. I have sent them questions and asked them. They field questions for me, and some of the priests will come on and will help me through some situations.
I thought that was just in the movies. That's really interesting.
No.
The first thing that popped into my head was Van Helsing.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a real thing. And I didn't know we had so many exorcists in the U.S.
Yeah.
And their numbers are increasing, which is interesting to me.
Well, and you've lived other places. Do you feel like there's like concentrated energy in this area? Or do you feel that there are other parts of the United States, like the South, that are, since all the battlegrounds?
The battlegrounds, definitely.
Yeah.
You had so much death and so much misery and sadness and overwhelming emotions going through those things. You had families against families in the Confederate War fighting each other and killing each other. That was, I think the battlefields for me, those whole areas, because I lived right outside of Gettysburg for 7 years. And I was stationed back there in the Navy, and I was at Gettysburg a lot. And that whole area is just bananas with activity.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'll have to pick your brain about some of the other places you've lived. We'll have to do this again because there's so much. Well, when you're exploring unexplained phenomena, back to like the clergy connection, how do you balance faith and science?
I am a scientist by work. That's what I do. I'm an environmental scientist.
Oh.
So I try to look for that rational explanation first, but knowing how I grew up with a mother who was out there.
I love how you say woo-woo.
Woo-woo.
That's what I'll say. My woo-woo friends.
Yes, I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, she was very much a cop, but this other part of her was front and center all the time, and she couldn't stop it. So I have to balance looking at things. I'm always looking for we call it debunking in the paranormal world, but is there an electrical issue? What could be causing all of this first? And what was the whole Sherlock Holmes thing? Like it's basically you rationalize, like when oh gosh, I can't remember what Holmes said. It was such a brilliant line. But anyway, you've basically thrown out everything that it could be. So then it boils down to the woo-woo, right? And so I've had, in every class we have people that come in that are total non-believers. And it's really interesting to watch their faces as we go through the investigation. We had a gentleman in this last class, and he was pretty skeptical about everything. And watching him watch the equipment hit on every question, and you could feel the tension of that guy in the admin building, you could kind of see him. I mean, he went from kind of hands down here to like, he was like protecting himself. That's that, shield yourself now. Yeah, it was pretty interesting to watch his body expression change as things moved. He didn't have a lot to say. I think he had to go back and mull that over in his head for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, the human side of the paranormal, what do you feel is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about, ghosts, interacting with ghosts or paranormal research?
First off, they think that you have to investigate only at night, that somehow energy happens only at night. Big misconception. The only reason why we do night investigations is because background noise is less. There's less traffic. There's less
Yeah,
people.
that makes sense.
Activity is going to happen day and night. Doesn't matter. We're usually not in tune with stuff as we are at night. Maybe that goes back to our caveman days.
Or, a lot of the scary stuff in movies happens at night and in the dark. Everything is like, the witching hour.
Right.
That's probably where people go in their head.
I think maybe, and also we're so overwhelmed during the day with work and our phone and errands and kids and stuff, right? So at night when you start unwinding and maybe you go to bed and your TV's off and you're just kind of laying there thinking about the day, and as you're winding down, that's when your senses open up a little more. You're getting away from all the electronics. I have to sleep with the TV on because I hear chatter and I have to turn the TV on. I'm like, I can't sleep.
I wonder if because I have to have white noise. I do more, so I do like frequencies like, 438 or 888. I'll like tune into a frequency with the black screen, but I have to have something like that to sleep or I can't.
Right.
I wonder if that's why.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, when clients reach out to you, what is their normal feeling? Is it like fear, curiosity, or relief that somebody believes them? Because that's, a thing. A lot of people are like, nobody's going to believe me. They're going to think I'm crazy. Do you find that people, like, what do you think, Phil, is the main reason people call you guys?
That's two things. Can you come in and prove I'm not crazy?
It's a relief.
The relief.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm really not crazy.
Oh,
This is
I'm
really
not
happening to me.
crazy.
Or I'm scared to death and we want to move out of our house.
Wow.
And we're there. We're like, they're on the cusp of actually calling the realtor and leaving. But we come in and we make them work with us. We will not, we're like, no, you have to work with us. Like, we can't leave. No. You have to work with us. 9 times out of 10, after they work with us for that evening and see how comfortable we are with communicating, trying to figure out who's in their space. Once they figure out who's in their space, a lot of times we coined it Dead Uncle Fred. If it's Dead Uncle Fred, it's their relative, it's their grandma, it's whoever. Then they all of a sudden, oh, it's just grandma? Okay, I can do it. If she was nice, if she was a nice grandma, then
Better
you're
watch
like,
my language.
I know. I'm like, well, just tell grandma, look, I'm really tired today. I'll talk to you tomorrow too. You know what I'm saying? I've had big burly guys get a hold of me, terrified of things going on in their house. I'm like you're like 6'5" and you're almost 300 pounds. I don't think anything intimidates you. So why are you scared of this? Well, I can't, because they can't control it. They can't. And I'm like, tell it to leave. I can do that. Yes. Tell it to leave.
How do you tell it to leave?
Tell it to leave.
Just be like, leave.
If
Get
some
out.
stranger came through your front door, wouldn't you get a little in their face and say, why are you here? Get out of my house. You wouldn't use that language. You would be at it, right? Tell it to leave. If you don't want to talk to them, tell them to leave. And don't be firm, be mean, be angry. Tell it to get out of my house. Get out of my house. I tell people that and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. And then call me back if it's still going on.
Because it seems simple. It's like, it's really just that simple. It feels
A lot
like you
of
have to
times
have
it
like
is.
some seance or something.
No. Well, that's drawing things in. You don't want to do that. Another misconception is the Ouija boards. Can we talk about that for a second?
One of my biggest fears is
Yes.
Ouija boards.
Okay.
When I come on your podcast, we're going to be talking about some Ouija boards.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, here's the deal. All of this stuff is a tool to communicate with, and that's all that is a tool to communicate. The problem is people have made it a game. And that's great, but you have to remember that there's spirit energy around us all the time. And so you open a door and you're like, who wants to talk? You don't do that, because that's like, who wants to come into my house? No. You want to talk to your dead Uncle Fred. You want to talk to people that you know loved you. Those people who are with you all the time, like my father, my mother. If I was to use something like that, that's who I want to talk to. I don't want to talk to you don't know who's walking through that door or wall. Mm-hmm. They're a tool. They're not evil in themselves. They're a tool, but the problem is how people use them.
Well,
and
if
it's
you're a
usually
sensitive
teenagers.
person, like if you're sensitive,
Yeah.
you naturally feel like I remember when people would start messing with them, and I'll talk more about this
Yes.
when we,
Yes.
talk next time. But when you're sensitive, it's almost like you're the only one, unless there's somebody else like us in there, that you're the only one that's like, does anybody else not feel that? Like, how can you not like be like, sometimes I'd get stomach aches and stuff, and we're like 12-year-olds. it was very, very scary and very inappropriate, in my opinion. So I was always like, I don't want to mess with that ever again.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
We've gone into houses where we're like, okay, and we'd have some teenagers with us, and we're like, when did you start messing with the Ouija board? And they're like, how'd you know? I'm like, because everything that's here is pointing to the fact that you've done something. Because this is chaos. There's too many things going on in this house. It's not dead Uncle Fred. So what have you done? Tell us. And when they tell us, we're like, okay, that's cool. Now we know how to deal with it. But don't do that again. Only talk to dead Uncle Fred.
Well, and when you're a kid.
I know, but that's the problem. The kids, we don't tell kids this.
Yeah.
We don't teach kids this, and they're curious.
Yeah.
Because they see the movies. Yeah.
And they, if you don't have somebody that can kind of control the situation.
Right.
Which, 15-year-olds are just like, woohoo, this is fun. And then they don't realize.
Oh, yeah. You've just invited in some creeper. You don't want him in your house.
Yeah. And so what you're saying is if you're a little bit more specific, it's not quite so like you could invite in the guy that shot his wife.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to just put that door right out. Like, who wants to communicate with me? No. You want to communicate with somebody that you've loved, that loves you, that's passed on, that you have that connection with. And make sure that's the only person you're communicating with. Ask them questions that only they would know.
Yeah.
And then that's what we do. Like, I'll be with a homeowner and say, okay, if you want to know, how do we know this is dead Uncle Fred? Ask them something only you know the answer to. And see if we get the right response. I already know it's dead Uncle Fred because he's communicating with me and my mediums and everybody else, but they're a little on the not so sure side. So that's when we start asking these types of questions. And once the homeowner is then comfortable, they're going, oh, okay, it's just Fred. Yeah, tell Fred to go to bed. You're going to bed, go to bed.
He's not tired.
I know, he's...
Well, the safety factor, though.
Yes.
You keep it safer that way.
Yes.
If you could go anywhere in the world and invest any location, where would you go?
There's a few castles in Scotland.
Okay, I love that answer. That's a great answer.
Yes, there's definitely some castles in Scotland, a couple in Ireland, but mostly in Scotland. There's the Leap Castle in Ireland that I really want to go to because they've seen elemental and energy there. I want to go experience that.
So you have like a paranormal bucket list?
I do have it's like that long.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
I retire in less than a year. Game on.
Well, I have a question here that I don't know if it's appropriate now that we've been talking. Maybe it is. What's one case that still keeps you up at night that leaves you with more questions than answers? Do you have any like that, or do you feels like you're very strong and?
Yeah, but honestly, there were. So this was quite a long time ago. This was one of the first cases I was involved with my mom with. So I was about 15 years old when this happened. There was a gentleman that my mom also worked at Hollywood Haunted Castle, which is where magicians come and psychics come and everybody kind of hones their craft. So she would work there part-time. And this gentleman's wife met my mom, and then they all became very good friends, my mom, dad, and this couple. And this really bothered me because he had told my mom, this gentleman, he was building an airplane. He designed it himself, and we built a lot of aircraft. And my family was very involved with aviation. And he was very good friends with my dad. And they were building this airplane, and he had told my mom, without my dad present, the day I take it up is the day I'm dying. Well, that bothered my mom, but she was trying to so my dad was supposed to take the plane up for its maiden flight. What you do is you bounce it kind of up and down the runway to make sure all of the ailerons and everything is proper, the tension's correct, because you don't want to take off and then not have something work. So you do a lot of real low level flights over the runway and then come down and work the controls and do all of this stuff. And my dad, who's never been late for anything a day in his life, was late to the airport that day. And this gentleman got impatient, and he's like, I'm going to take it up. And he took it up, and he died. Maiden flight. And so I didn't work the case, but that stuck with me. that amount of knowing in someone's head, that knowledge, that premonition, that with absolute clarity, he saw it. He knew it was going to happen. He was completely comfortable with it. He goes, "Oh no, what's going to happen?" And his wife knew it was going to, everybody knew it was going to happen. My dad was the only one left out of the picture. He didn't have a lot of this. And it bothered him. He's like, everybody knew but me. And we're like, what were we supposed to tell you? We knew my dad wouldn't have taken it up. He would have done 100 flights, low-level flights over the runway but Warren, yeah. I don't know if Warren thought, look, I know it's not going to work and I don't want Bob to get hurt, my dad. I don't know. So that always stuck with me, that some people just have that
personal
level.
Connection with it being your dad.
Yeah.
You know, that's family
I remember
related.
This was long before cell phones, and I was at home that day and the phone ringing off the hook, everybody wanting to know where my dad was because the plane had gone down in our town in the trees, and everybody was like, oh my God. And they knew that my dad was supposed to fly that plane that day. Like, it was in the aviation community there. Everybody knew everybody's going to the airport to help get this right.
Yeah, that would stick in your mind.
Yeah, that one stuck in my head. And it was just the level that he was so calm with it. And he was so accepting to, this is my fate. Like, no, there's still free will. You can choose not to do this.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a level of, he was just so, okay, this is my cards. I'm going to play him out.
Huh. Wow.
So then you think of the butterfly effect. Like, if he hadn't have done that, what would have happened later?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but it was so really stuck with me.
Scenarios that just replay in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, so we're getting to the end here. What do you want people to understand more about your work and about the paranormal activity in Pocatello? What do you feel is something that you would love people to understand that may, you know, say they don't do the woo-woo thing or they're scared of it? Because a lot of people are scared. What would you like them to know or understand?
We fear the unknown, and that's human nature. That's kind of ingrained in us, right? But spirit energies around us everywhere. And 99% of the time, it's a relative. It's just a person who's passed on and they're trying to make a connection. Maybe they don't even know they've died. How confusing and terrifying would that be? Try to take the fear out of it. Movies where you're like picked up and thrown into a wall, things can happen on investigations, but it's rare. It's rare. Also, I really want to impress that there are no experts in this field. Nobody's an expert. If they call themselves an expert, run. Because all we can do is give you the sum of our experiences. And maybe my take on a situation is going to be different than another team's take. But, and don't pay money for this, ever. If some team is going to come in and investigate your house and they're going to charge you $150 or whatever, don't do it. Because there's no experts. Our equipment is fallible. It can be interfered with by all kinds of different stuff. You can't rely on all of that. It's the sum of the investigation. It's the total of what we're picking up from all of us. We have empaths and sensitives and mediums and a demonologist. We have all of these expertise on our team, and it's the sum of the experience, the collection of information that we're giving to the homeowner. But now, for paranormal investigations, just be cautious of what people are telling you. Don't give them too much information when they come in the door. Hold some stuff back so you can say, yeah, they did hit on this area that I'm seeing shadows. That's interesting. That's cool when you can get those correlation things. Okay. But yeah, just be cautious and don't pay for a paranormal investigation. Don't do it.
Okay. So you guys just do it for free, just to, and maybe ease the burden for the other side of the veil.
That and the homeowner, we want them to be comfortable in their space. We want them to know what's happening. In our experience, or in our estimation of what's going on, we're going to say, yeah, look, we believe this is Grandma. She's here, and she's your angel now. She's your guardian. She's not going to leave you because she loves you. So talk to her. When you're blue, talk to her. ask her if she wants that cup of coffee tomorrow, just,
Or say, I'll clean the kitchen later.
yeah, Grandma, I'm on it.
I'll clean the kitchen when I get time.
If Grandpa's telling you to mow the yard, Gramps, I'm going to mow the yard tomorrow. So they just want to be with you. And we try to take that fear out of things. We have homeowners all the time after we investigate, they want to join the team. After they've been gone incredibly terrified of what's happening and so comfortable they want to be on the team. That's where we want them to be.
Awesome. Well, that is a lot of great information, and we're going to have to do this again. I know we're going to be talking on your podcast as well, but we'll have to do this again. When does what is there an event name or what you guys are doing at Gate City Coffee?
Not quite. I think we're going to start it in December. I'm waiting for a date from the two mediums that I work with real closely with this. And we will advertise it on Pocatello Paranormal Research on Facebook.
Okay.
And Gate City Coffee will put up flyers. We'll advertise it kind of word of mouth in different Facebook groups, but it's going to be very limited size to get started with. I think about 8 to 10 people. It's a little overwhelming for people who are mediums to work with bigger crowds at first.
Yeah.
Kind of get the hang of it because you don't know who's coming through. You don't want to embarrass anybody in public, so they have to filter.
Well, thank you so much, Colleen.
Thank you.
It was really great to meet you, and yeah, we'd love to have you back sometime.
Awesome. I'll be here.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.